happy to see so many people here that I know and love, and new friends I've already made today. Wow. So, this is the Center for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley, where we come together to know the divine presence. So you're in the right place at the right time to do that, and I'm Patty Mercado, and we're going to start with the Flames of Faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as Tony Sparks, our practitioner, lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And I invite you to join with me now in our opening spiritual line treatment and affirmative prayer. Knowing that there's one life, one power, one cause, one source, one energy, one love, one beauty, one breath, one. And that one knows itself and reveals itself out of its own self-givingness, its own self-awareness, its own self-love. That one makes itself known. And it does so effortlessly. It does so gracefully. It does so with ease. It simply does. And because I know that everything comes from that one and is an expression of that one, I know that all life is a part of it. All life is a part of that creative love, that creative expression, that self-givingness. And because I know that this is the truth, I know it is the truth of me individually and all life individually, and that each one of us is that creative expression. Spirit, life, God, the divine intelligence is moving in and through and as each one of us. We are its expression. And therefore the love, the beauty, the creativity, the wisdom that God is being made known by means of each one. And so we effortlessly let it have its way. We joyfully open our hearts and minds to the expression of divine love. truth, of wholeness. We joyfully come together to recognize and know this for ourselves and for each other. We joyously interact with life, knowing that it is the perfect expression. It is the natural way. And so I know that we are all here on purpose and with purpose to let that light shine through, to open ourselves to that creative flow that is God in us and through us and as us. And I know that we do so effortlessly, joyously, and mindfully. And so knowing that all is well and that life is simply having its way by means of us, we allow ourselves to give way to it. Grateful for the opening of hearts and the expansion of our minds, grateful for this time together, and grateful for the unfolding and the evolution of this beauty that is yearning to be made known. I simply say thank you. I release my word to that law that has already acted upon it, that law that is perfect and that has already said yes. As I let go and I let it be, I invite you to know this with me. And so it is. All right, and now, my beloved, Fred, our practitioner this morning, is going to come up and lead us in the Declaration of Principles and the affirmation.
Good morning, blessed ones.
Good morning.
So we're going to start with our Declaration of Principle, the essence of what we believe, and then we'll follow it with today's affirmation, which was beautifully written by Ernest Holmes. So let's start with our Declaration of Principles. I believe in God, the one creative intelligence, operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe this perfect spirit operates upon the law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is. Okay, and now to our affirmation for today. Out of the limitless creativity of God, I accept the flow of new ideas. My whole consciousness is alive, awake, and aware to them. Today I expect new ways of doing things. Today is a new beginning. The divine influx now makes today expansive and expressive of the creative source of all things. So it is.
Thank you, Fred. Please welcome our soloist for today, Kelly Corsino.
I brought my own cheering section. So, are we ready to weave a rainbow design that is our life? Yes. Yes. Let's do that. Had I a golden thread and a needle heart, in my mind, in my rainbow, rainbow, rainbow design. God bless you.
Thank you, Kelly. It's always great to hear you and see you and experience your energy. That was just beautiful. And I especially like my angle because I could then see your dog that was just all eyes on you. Now that is a service animal if I've ever seen one. Wow. Yes, please. One of my favorite things about this time of year is to get to interview one of you. And today is a continuation of that. So I would like to invite to the platform Kay Allen. Give her a lot of love. Thank you, Kate. Hello. Okay. You've been at this center almost your entire life. How did your connection with God help you as a child and teenager?
So, as a child and as a teenager, my connection with God really was surrounded in the idea that my choice has power. And that means that whatever I get to think or do or say is within my own power.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So it seems to me that you've always been an active participant in teen group. Now you're one of the leaders of our teen group. Can you explain to us adults what was so compelling about teen group and camp?
So, what was so compelling to me is this idea of using the foundations of our principles and putting them into practice as teenagers, and learning that you have the support of the universe and other people alike to kind of help you through anything you may be going through.
Thank you. So you've been in, your mom tells me more than one of my classes, but I know at least one. And I know you as a conscientious student, and now you're in practitioner training. What is your vision for being a practitioner?
My vision for being a practitioner is mostly exploring my own ideas of what it means to serve in a greater way.
Wow. Okay. Succinct answers too, because this woman's creativity is ready. Okay. Our last question is, our theme this year is Courageous and Confident Connections. Please share one way that you are more courageous and confident because of this center or our teaching.
So because of this center, I always feel at home, and so being confident and courageous to me is kind of accepting myself and kind of being able to express that more in who I am and in my work.
Thank you very much. I promised them that I wouldn't add extra questions, so I didn't. But I could have. I would like to. Thank you, Kate. That was so beautiful. Our theme today is courageously and confidently connecting with creativity. Connecting with creativity, and that seems like a really interesting idea. Why would you need courage to connect with creativity? And as soon as I say that, people have ideas, something that occurred, maybe third grade teacher who said, "What is that you're drawing?" And it was very clear to you what it was supposed to be. Or some other child said, "Well, you're no good at this." So the courage required is to move past any fears, any stopping places that would say, oh, I can't, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the principle. We live, move, have our being in this divine mind that is creative intelligence. And it is taking the impress of all of our thoughts. It doesn't discriminate. It just says, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved. And so if we are conscious of those thoughts, we've been planting in that creative mind things that we will welcome in our world. Things that we will say, yes, that was so wonderful. Our sacred circle, so many of you are in a sacred circle. Hands up. Woo, look at that, is fantastic. Well, I'm going to spill a little bit of the beans for this coming week, which is all about the creative process. And Reverend Carla, who put together our curriculum for us and did such a wonderful job. And what she starts with, the reading, and I'm paraphrasing, I didn't want to give it exactly the same way. She said, you know, the internet, this comes from Eric Butterworth, that the internet is like that thing that God is. It's like a metaphor for God. It is everywhere available. It is instantaneously aware of whatever questions you ask. So I was thinking, it's sort of like Google, not necessarily the internet, but Google. If I have a question, I go to Google, and the answers, like 10 million answers, are there in seconds. And our connection with Source is faster, more dependable, and greater than that. Our connection with Source is instantaneous. It doesn't take seconds. It doesn't take any time whatsoever. It simply is forever taking place. So it's always operating. It's always operating. Everything in our lives, every single thing in our lives, our relationships, our prosperity, our greater good, our well-being, our health, our wholeness, every single thing comes through the same process. It comes through our beliefs. Our beliefs impregnate our consciousness, and then it brings forth form. When I first heard this idea, I was very depressed. I was, because it was like, oh my gosh, all of my thoughts are creating everything, every belief I have is creating, and yes, it was. And anyone who reads my blog will know that I've noticed that in the 30-some years I've been at this, not as a minister, but as a student and a seeker, I have let go of some of those false beliefs and expected more and more good. And that shows up in one of my spiritual practices, which are morning pages, which comes from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. So if anyone wants to explore that, you are welcome to. You are already a creative being. You are already a creative being. So we've asked one of our artists to join us here today and to demonstrate and for us to learn about our own creative process. So I'm going to call up Karen Meyer Karen has done some work for us, and she's going to begin by telling us some of her credentials, and then she's going to demonstrate. You want help with the? No? Okay. So let's acknowledge Karen.
Thank you. Many of you already know that I'm an artist. I actually make a living as an artist. In my day job, I illustrate, do lettering and design. And I went to art school, and so I got a BFA, which is a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then I continued, and I have a Master of Fine Arts degree in drawing. So now I need my notes, because I'm done with the part that I know. So in college, when I was in college, when I started in art school, somebody recommended to me that I take a figure drawing class, that I take as many figure drawing classes as I could, which was very good advice. And I've continued to do that throughout my life. I continue, even as an adult, to seek out open figure classes, and more recently, I go out to bars and I draw people around me. I go to the beach and I draw people around me. And of course, it's challenging because people are always moving. And that's part of the interest and part of the challenge for me. People are moving, I have to go fast. So if I asked you to draw a person, if I put a model up here and asked you to draw her, my guess is that you would start by drawing her face. You would start with her eyes, with her nose, with her mouth, her hair. By now, you're probably already frustrated. You're not even getting to the rest of the body. You're starting with the details, and that's exactly backwards. So in a figure drawing class, we learn and practice to start with the whole. We try to take in the whole as quickly as possible and work towards the details. So over a typical art class is 3 hours long. So over the course of a 3-hour class, we are doing really dozens and dozens and dozens of very quick drawings. So typically we start the process with, when I say quick drawings, I mean very quick drawings, 5-second drawings. These are called gesture drawings. So we start with 5-second drawings, many of them, 10, 20 of them. And then we go to 10-second drawings, and then 15-second drawings, 30-second drawings, 1-minute drawings. We work up to a pose later in the class, which might be an hour long. So the idea is to loosen up. They are exercises. They are exercises in this very much the way a musician's scales are exercises. The way a basketball player's dribbling is an exercise. The way a golfer works on the putting green. A runner stretches. These are exercises. Nobody expects great drawings from them. So I'm going to ask you to do some with me today. We're going to do this together. But before we do this, now Karen Allen has generously offered to be our model today. Thank you, Karen, thank you. So you've got the two Karens up here on stage today. So before we do it together, I'm going to just go through one drawing myself to demonstrate. So I'm going to ask Karen to come on up. So, just refer to my notes again. Okay, so remember that the point of this is to loosen up. It's to prepare our minds to take in the whole and to lose expectations about the drawing. This is very important. We're not expecting any great masterpiece. So what I am going to do is I'm going to look for the movement of the figure, the general movement. I'm going to look for the gesture. I'm not going to involve myself in any details. So go ahead and do a pose. And I'm going to move my my easel further up so that I can get a more front-on view of her. All right, so I'm hoping that you can all see what I'm doing, but the gesture of this pose is a vertical one, and the arm is extended up. We've got a very vertical movement of the pose.
And then there are some limbs that fly off to the side. One of the legs is being supported on the other leg. So I invite you actually to stand up and take this pose yourself. Feel this pose. So where is the weight? Where is your center of gravity? When you've got your foot up like that, right? Your hip is thrust out to the side. You don't have to hold it forever, you know, just get a feel for it. Feel the weight distribution of it. The weight is on your left foot. Your left hip is being thrust out, right? So where is your center of gravity? Feel that. And when you can connect to the model like that, you are taking it in, and it can move out of you more directly. Okay, so that's one of the things you try to do. You try to connect with the model, feel what they're feeling. All right. All right, so take another pose. All right, so now this one has this very horizontal movement to it. All right, so that's it. That's it for now. Notice it is messy. It is full of exploration. It's full of like trying to fix things that weren't right to begin with. None of that matters. You'll notice, and typically in a figure drawing class, we're using a very large piece of paper like this, so we get gestural too. Paper you have under your chairs is small, but that's okay. All right, so.
If you don't have a paper under your chair, there's other papers under other chairs like Tim. There's probably.
All right, so everybody should have a page, a little pad of paper underneath their chairs for you to give this a go yourself. I've got to get my phone so I can time these. All right, so a couple of tips. If you can, put the pad of paper against the chair in front of you. And what I want you to do is reduce the distance between your eye and the figure. If you're having to do this a lot, you're losing time and you're not making a connection between the model and your drawing. So see if you can get your page next to her. All right, hang on. All right, so Karen, take the next pose, and then I'll have you go around to the first pose. So.
I'm going to do a reverse warrior.
All right, so we're going to do these one after another. Just when I say time, you're going to just move to the next one. Okay, so we're going to start now. 1 minute. So again, what you're looking for is the main movement of the figure, the gesture of the figure. Think about the center of gravity. Think about, just look and respond. No erasing. I know you have erasers, but we will not use them. All lines are welcome. see if you can capture a sense of the weight. In other words, pull towards the center of the earth. Okay, that's it. Next one. Next. So think about the torso first and how the limbs are moving away from the torso. Her hair has movement to it too. Okay, stop. Next. It's just you and the model. It's just you responding. Drawing is really far less important than just you and seeing the model. You being in the moment, releasing any expectations about the drawing. All right, time is up. Thank you, Karen. So now go back and look at your drawings. You didn't have much time to look at them before, but let's look for some merit. Did anybody actually have time to capture the entire figure? Excellent, that's wonderful. From the first to the third, did a minute seem longer? The third one. You had more time. You're now thinking faster. You're seeing faster. You're taking it in. So does anybody feel like they captured the movement or the gesture in any one of these drawings? Yeah? Cool. Excellent. And how about some beautiful lines? Does anybody have any really nice lines? A line or two. That is just, wow, that came out of me. So there's merit in probably all of them. There's something to look for. I'm hoping that you'll want to share them. I certainly want to see them. We've got a table set up underneath the pictures in the back wall there for you. I invite you to put them out there, share them, hang around there and talk about what the experience was like for you. Thank you.
So how many of you are judging your drawings? Yeah. Even though first thing she said was this was not about capturing it perfectly. This is about being in the moment and getting the flow, the direction, the energy. And the other thing she began with, very important science of mind concept. We begin with the wholeness, not the details. We begin with the wholeness. What is it? So when you're planting those ideas in divine mind, whether it's to become a great artist, or whether it's just to be a better friend or a great lover or a wonderful singer, you start with the end in mind. You start with that big idea, and you plant that idea. As you're planting it, you might add details. But it doesn't matter whether you do or not, because that creative intelligence within you knows exactly how to supply all of the details, knows exactly, has been to the art school of the infinite, knows exactly how to flow through you, through your beingness, through your presence, through your consciousness. It is such a great reminder. So anyone who was judging yourself, stop it. That's the last time. I'm working with a beautiful personal trainer right now. And she's a young woman, like 20 years old, from Oklahoma. She reminds me so much of my family when I was young. And because she has that Midwestern wonderful consciousness of inclusivity and really great. And she was telling me, she came to my aerobics class because she'd never been to one. And she wanted to know what on earth I was doing. So she did. She did the whole thing. I sat up her step right beside me. So she did the whole thing, which is wonderful. But what I bringing this up is, her second client after me, we had a great time together. We laughed, we joked, we participated together, we played. Because isn't life about playing? And her next client was really not the right match for her. The next client told her she should really wear makeup. The boys wouldn't like her if she didn't wear makeup. Her boss, who was a man, would fire her because she was not wearing makeup. This woman is 20 and beautiful. Beautiful. So, and then there were other things. She said things that upset her, and she didn't know that she had the ability to say, I can no longer work with you. So she worked with her for the whole hour, but she then blocked her. So she won't work with her again. No one has the right to judge us, but we have to start with ourselves. We do not have the right to judge ourselves. It's out of principle spiritually. It's out of principle to judge. It's in principle to nurture, to praise and raise, like we do in our sacred circles, that we know for each other very best for each one. So that is what I know for each of you, and I know that there's an artist within you, a genius that is ready to take the impress of any word that you implant. That's just the way it is. That was the first time, by the way, I haven't judged myself about art. It's the first time I didn't begin with the details. And it still was pretty bad compared to an artist, but I'm happy with it. And I will put mine out on the table and let everyone look.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do here, is open ourselves so that we can grow. Okay. Courageous and confident connections with creativity. We all have it, right here, right now. Please help me anchor this by just saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
And then I'm going to pray, but I'll pray fast because we've got lots of other good things going. Okay, this is what I know. I'm going to speak this word in the first person, and it is for each one to individualize. This is what I know is true. I know that there's only one power, and that one that is the divine presence is forever whispering in my ear, my beloved, opening my heart to its presence. This one that is the I am that I am, is that creative genius that is everywhere present. And so acknowledging it, I no longer criticize myself. I speak this word with great confidence and clarity that number one, I am enough. That I live in an abundant universe and there's plenty of talent for everyone, myself included. That I am the right age, the right size, the right beingness for the work that has called me to it. And I know that this is true for each one. I know that there are always more ways for us to grow and expand and have greater awareness of ourselves. And so, with my heart just filled with gratitude, knowing that I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am creative, and in every way, I am better and better. I simply plant this word in the mind of God. I know that it's complete, it's enough. And please help me anchor this prayer by saying with me, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. And now, Kelly Corsino.
I love this church. This is like the coolest service ever. Wow. You guys are so blessed. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So something's calling me. Is it calling you?
Yes.
Listen. Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me. A little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. Can't still the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling? I can feel my heart begin to pound. Everybody's saying something's calling me. A little bit deeper than I ever Love is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith keeps calling me deeper and deeper and deeper than I've been before. God is calling me, and I'm grateful like I've never been before.
What a beautiful rendition of a song, one of my favorites. Thank you, thank you. That brings us to our time to share our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. So if the stewards would please come forward. And I'd just like to take a second to thank the people that are watching online and that send in their gifts, their tithes, our offerings. We're very grateful for you. Thank you. And then stewards, please come forward. And just take your offering and let's read our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply. And then we'll take a few seconds in silence for gratitude.
where you feel free. Run away, discover your passion. Go away somewhere all bright and new. God knows there is no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea, far away from your trouble and worry. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find fields of clover. Run away, let your heart be alive. You deserve deepest cover, somewhere new where you don't have to hide. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea, far away from your trouble and worry. You belong somewhere you feel free. Yeah. You belong somewhere you can fly free.
I never know when I see tears in people's eyes, whether I should applaud or not. But it was beautiful, beautiful. And now if Reverend Karen and Reverend Patty would come forward, I'm going to call forth the people who pledged last week. I know that we didn't get all of the pledges that were made because some were made late in the week. So if your name isn't called today, it will be called next week. So Clifton and Nancy Huxford, please come forward. Joanne Leone, please come forward. Paula Manis. I see Paula. I don't see her. Reverend Arpad Petros. I see Reverend Arpad. Claudia Riley. I don't see her. I don't see Claudia. Lonnie Wilson. Maureen Terrazano, please come forward. Okay, I'll come down here so I can see you all. Thanks for showing up today. Thank you for your pledge. In the Little Prince, we read, what is essential to the heart is invisible. It is so true. But the question is, what is essential to the heart? Caring, compassion, courage, connection, love, honor, and dignity come to mind. We are so grateful to each of you for your generosity of spirit, your love, and your commitment. To symbolize our gratitude, we're giving you a beautiful container. These jars are a gift of art created by Charlotte Bachman, a artist who created our mandala. The jars or containers are receptacles for some substance. These jars may look empty, but they're not. They're filled with love. They're filled with prayers of gratitude and prayers of love, creativity, wisdom, wholeness, energy, and life itself. This jar has already been prayed upon by our team. We pray that each recipient feels the appreciation and gratitude that is within the jar, that is open and receptive to even greater blessings. Thank you so much for your pledges. We know you made them consciously. It takes a lot of love and confidence to make this commitment. Often takes courage to keep it. As a symbol of the commitment that you have made and your connections with this center, please accept this gift that you're holding in your hand. I'm asking you to keep these gifts in a sacred place where it will feel your sacred energy and you'll be reminded of how much we're grateful for you and how much you're loved. Thank you for your blessings. And if you haven't made a pledge yet and want to, the pledge cards are in the seats in front of you, and just need to fill it out and take it and put it in the prayer box or the pledge box that's on the blue wall just as you enter the sanctuary. So thank you so much for all that you've given and all that you're giving. And that takes me to the, if you're here for the very first time, we have a gift for you, and please either hop up or raise your arms or something so we can see you. We're going to acknowledge you. So we're going to affirm you. So good. If one person is brave, then others will be brave. We're bringing a gift to you. And here's, in congregation, I'd like you to repeat after me. Welcome to our center. We know that you are creative beings. And your presence here has blessed us all. Welcome. And you may be seated. In those gift bags, did you get? Okay. In those gift bags, you'll find some information about our center and a gift and a card, a welcome card. If you take it to the bookstore after service, you'll receive another gift. It's a book. And we're so grateful that you're here. And do we have announcements?
So normally this would be Wade and Kimberly up here doing one of their awesome skits, but they are right now at an all-day rehearsal for the show that they're in. It's called Games of Foot, in which they're starring. So that's opening at the Cabrillo Playhouse on November 3rd. Little plug. So after the service, go in the back, grab some food and socialize, and then at 12:30, give yourself the amazing gift of the sacred breath and sound bath experience. Kelly and John, right here, will lead a full mind, body, and soul experience through healing breaths and tones and releasing the ideas that hold us back. So a day at the spa would normally cost you about $100. This is only $25, and it's so much better. So we'll see you all there. Conscious Connections will resume next week. Oh, 2 weeks, that's right. Next week we have our, it's coming up, never mind. So, and because Wednesday is Halloween, there will not be a Wednesday's Wisdom service. Enjoy your evening passing out candy, dressing up like a ghoul or a fool or a mule. Don't come because we won't be here, but hopefully it'll be Game 7 of the World Series too, so. Dave. So starting this Tuesday, October 30th, Dr. Heather will be teaching an accredited class called The Power of Your Word. It runs for 8 weeks, and there's a sign-up sheet on the kiosk, and if you have any questions, see Dr. Heather. And next Sunday, this is why it's not next Sunday for Conscious Connections, we're having our all-church picnic. So after service, we are having carpools available. So we will have people driving because there's limited parking at the park, and there are directions available in the bookstore. So plan on being here after the service and carpooling to the park. And today and every Sunday, we have practitioners available to serve you. And they are available after the service in the back of the room and in the Tranquility Room for a 1-minute miracle. It's our gift to you on Sundays, and today they are Tony Sparks, Fred Mercado, Kathy Story, and Dave Friedman. And we have an announcement.
Yes, for the men in the choir, I have CDs to rehearse the amazing song, so come find me after. And also, Godspell opens in 2 weeks at the Laguna Playhouse.
I'll be there. All right, so now, well, you take the inserts out of your program, take them home, read them over so you know what's going on, and now we're going to invite the children in.